You need to see how it works here. You need to meet the people who are here. People tend to focus on cardio. They run, they walk, which is good stuff, but as you get older, you need strength training.
Welcome, Tim. So why don't you start and just tell you a little bit more about yourself, kind of your exercise background, and we'll go from there.
Well, I've been here about 4 years. I'm retired. I was retired when I started here. And I was working out with a trainer before that as well. And I had a big change in my life. My wife now actually introduced me to you, if you remember that. I don't know if you do.
Yeah, Nancy did. That's
so
good.
I'd exercised before, do similar kind of strength training. But before that, I hadn't done a lot of, other than have periods where I jogged or walked or tried to do cardio, but I never really have done strength training.
So what when Nancy recommended NorthStar to you, what piqued your interest? What interested you in what NorthStar had versus going to like a gym or anything like that?
Well, I knew that I needed structure. I needed an appointment. I needed somewhere to show up. Somebody was waiting for me. And I needed somebody, or I shouldn't say needed, but I want, and I still do want somebody to tell me what to do. And, your guys are, your people are really good about changing programs, and they're very structured, and it takes knowledge and expertise to do that. I don't have that expertise. My sense is that people that go to the gym by themselves waste a lot of time and energy because they're not doing things consistently, or they're not working the right things. And then also, there's somebody there with you to tell you whether you're doing something right or wrong. And it's amazing, after 4 years, I still get reminded, something that I've done before. It happened on Tuesday. I was doing push-ups, and Connor said, put your hands together a little closer. It's simple stuff like that can be the difference between doing a movement right and having it being effective, and doing it wrong and maybe hurting yourself.
And getting injured.
Right. So those are the reasons. I mean, I've been coming here 4 years, so it's obvious that I like what I'm doing here. And I'm going to keep doing it.
Now, you had, an unfortunate accident. In the process, I think you're moving homes, and you had a little bit of unfortunate accident. Tell us a little bit more.
I broke my hip.
Ooh.
That was, I started here in October of 2020, and that happened at the end of April of 2021. I broke my hip, fell in my garage, and I was probably off for, I can't remember how quickly I started physical therapy, but it was probably a month, 6 weeks. I can't remember.
How did our team help you in that recovery process?
Well, it was vital. I really learned something that physical therapy only gets you back to a certain point. I mean, my hip was very weak. I lost a lot of muscle mass. It wasn't flexible. And we focused on that. Your team was very helpful in, getting me back to where I was before. And I think I'm there when I first
remember
got back.
There were a lot of balance issues.
Oh, yeah.
That you lost the strength. It wasn't just the strength. It was a difference of strength between one side was strong, one side was weak. And so, chance of fall or further injury was pretty prevalent, but you were able to.
Yeah. So that was key to my recovery. And I know I've told you this before, and I tell everybody, physical therapy for something like what happened to me isn't going to get you back to where you were before. You're never going to be the same, because you have to build back that muscle that's gone. So walking isn't going to do that, I don't think.
So in other words, it really takes a sustained level of stimulus to be able to build that muscle.
Exactly. I remember the first thing that we were working on was toe taps, where I was up on a step on this right leg and then trying to touch my heel tap. I mean, it's a heel tap. It took us weeks before I could do that. I still remember that was the first goal that we had, was to actually touch the floor with my heel while putting my weight on this. Yeah.
Yeah. And how are you today? I mean, are you back to full strength?
Yeah. Yeah, I am. I feel it a little bit sometimes if I sit for a while. It's a little, but it doesn't hinder my life.
You're a busy guy too, even though you're retired. You're traveling.
Yeah, traveling
quite a bit. And how has NorthStar helped you? In be able to build that consistency and build that routine?
That's another thing. It's really interesting that you mentioned that, because in August, I think I had my last assessment in July. I was gone for 2 weeks on a cruise, and then I got back and I got COVID. So there was a period in there where I missed. And so Connor and I, when I was doing my last assessment, I was like, I don't know how this is going to work. But I actually lost weight and gained muscle mass. I wouldn't recommend it is what I want to do, but I think it showed that all the work prior to that,
you carried the momentum.
Carried some momentum with me, and now I'm back. One of the goals, the other thing that there are a lot of things I like that your team does. I had my quick assessment today, and it's like, well, so what are we going to work on the next 8 weeks, or however long those are? And one of them is, not miss any. Like we did last time. So, that's going to be one of my goals, I think.
Yeah. Help stay on top of it. We all need regular focus, goals to be able to shoot for, because it's life doesn't slow down as you get older, does it?
No.
Yeah. What advice would you give someone 10 years younger, to stay in top shape, and that it's 10, 20 years younger? What would you tell them?
To get started right away. I think people tend to focus on cardio. They run, they walk, which is good stuff, but as you get older, you need strength training. And one of the things I've noticed too is that, emphasis on core. I don't have back problems like I used to. I mean, my back's still sore sometimes, just my back is stronger, or I don't have.
You got good core strength and help
overall
balance.
Yep.
That's good. Now, you were finance background, right?
Yep.
And I remember we had a conversation once, and you talked about in finance, often people look for the thing that they don't have control of, which is the return.
Right. Yeah. Well, fitness. If you think about saving for retirement, the one thing you don't have any control over or very little control over, is the return. They focus on that when you should start saving early and save as much as you can. And the return is going to be the return. The markets do what they do, and you can't influence them very much. But people are focused on the thing that they can't control.
And there's a lot of good parallels to fitness.
Mm-hmm.
How would you relate the two?
Well, people are looking for quick fixes. There's always the latest, hottest
the result
thing.
They're looking for the results.
Yeah.
Which they can't necessarily control.
No, they have to control what they can, which again is how often you show up,
the right
what
types
do you
of
do,
exercise.
the right types of exercises, the length, how long you've been doing it. But and that's one thing I've always liked about you, the way you lead this place, is there's no quick fix. We have the secret. If you just do this, there is no secret. It's you have to put in the work. You use your expertise to use your time most efficiently. I mean, movement, you need expertise to know which movements are beneficial for you. You guys don't have a gimmick.
In my daily Stoic, it said today, it's very similar. It was like something like you always go back to the fundamentals.
Yeah.
The fundamentals will always win out.
Mm-hmm.
You can be attractive for this or that, and if some financial, ploy, this or that, but it comes down to the fundamentals.
Yes.
What are you stimulating for your body? What are you feeding your body? And not focus on the results.
Mm-hmm.
So I love how you said that. That was good. That was good. what have you appreciated, and you've kind of touched upon a few areas there, but what have you appreciated most about our service?
I've been here 4 years, and you always hire good people. You've hired people and then they've gone on to other things, but I don't think I remember a single person that worked here that I thought probably wasn't a good hire. And I've worked with all of them. The team you have right now is really good, and they're kind and comfortable to be around. I think people get intimidated by gyms and workouts, and are they going to be judged? And the people you hire, not only they have the expertise, but they have the people skills to make this a pleasant experience.
There's kind of a stigma out there, like, to be in, a meathead, you gotta, to be in good shape, you're gonna be a meathead, or you're gonna be a know-it-all, or as we have a phrase called guruitis, where it's more about the trainer than it is the individual. Right. And how has our team helped you, in that process, stay motivated and staying, on track?
Well, part of it's the assessments, and you get reminded that you missed so many here, and just kind of a reminder of always setting shorter term goals. The other thing is that your team is very responsive to input. So, just simple example today, although this has happened before, I start my arm day, and for some reason I get this crick in my shoulder, and so I said, "Can we stop and do an exercise?" And Taylor said, "Sure." So we do something to stretch it out, and that happens when you're 64. You show up some days, and some things are a little creaky, and they're very adaptable to what you need that day, and they listen when you tell them something, right? They ask, and then they listen. My back is stiff today, or that hurt when I did that, and then they say, "Well, let's not do that." And that's another thing I've learned, is the difference between something hurting and something working.
So in other words, the when your body is working, it might feel a certain way.
Well, yeah, your muscle gets tired and it gives up, or something is hard to do. That's different than something hurting you. And so I've learned that, and then if I tell them, nobody ever says power through it, or you're okay.
Yeah.
They change.
Yeah.
Or we do something else, or back off of that.
Yeah. How has, what you've been able to experience at NorthStar and your current fitness level, how has it helped you in your everyday, give me an example of an everyday life that's, you've noticed a difference?
Well, the one thing is my back. I think just the core strength has a lot fewer back issues. My back doesn't hurt if I do stuff. I think I'm more flexible when I play golf. I haven't really seen improvement
in your handicap,
in my score.
But I remember
I don't think that's your fault.
Well, I remember you used to talk about when you went golfing, you used to be very stiff and very almost sore.
Mm-hmm.
How are you feeling today versus
I'm not sore at the end of a round.
And you're one thing is I've noticed too is just overall having wife and family, when you have other obligations or you're traveling, there's a certain amount of stress on the body.
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't see that in you. I feel like,
really?
Yeah, you whether it be, getting geared to go up to travel here or there, I know you've had some, family things you've dealt with. Like I've just noticed kind of a sustained level of energy.
Oh, good.
in you that,
I think there is a mental part of this too, that you do feel good about yourself, that you're committed to this. You show up even on days when you don't want to, and I think that has an impact on your
And how do you feel?
mental health.
How do you feel after the workout?
Good. Good.
Good.
Sometimes I'm tired or sore, but that's the whole point of it. So
Yeah.
I'm always glad I came.
Yeah, good. Connor was just mentioning there, some recent, I think, blood pressure. I think they thought that the dosage was too high.
Mm-hmm.
Has there been any benefits from a health or medical standpoint?
Yeah. I mean, I've lost weight, which is always somebody my age is always a big deal. So yeah, it's definitely helped. You're always fighting it when you're 64, but
yeah,
but it has helped.
Good. So, what would you say is someone who might be they're considering NorthStar? Maybe they're maybe they don't know what to do, or some other options, and they're just on the fence about joining. What would you say to that person?
I would come out here, and I'm sure you give them a tour or a little, training session or something. I think you need to see how it works here and meet the people who are here, and also see the clients, because it's a wide range of people. You're not going to stick out as the one person that hasn't exercised before, or there are people at all levels who are here. You're not going to feel inadequate, which can happen at a gym where you're surrounded by people that are lifting weights all the time. So I think the first thing is just come out here. Awesome. You better do it soon, apparently, because it sounds like you're filling up.
Well, yeah, that's really good. I was just going to ask one other question on the intimidation factor, because I think this is one thing of like, hey, am I going to get caught into a trap, or he's intimidating, or things like that. Can you maybe just speak a little bit on that aspect of that, I guess, intimidation factor, lack thereof?
There isn't one here. I think everybody feels comfortable when they get in, come in here, and it's kind of the culture around here, I think, that you've tried to build. It's welcoming for everybody, and that's not always the case. I don't think you're not looking for a certain type of client that is already at a certain level. I mean, you see people that are just starting out, people that really need, and they get the same treatment that everybody else does, the same care. So that's my strong. I mean, come and watch somebody and come and watch my workout. I wouldn't care.
That's great. Keep up the good work. Proud of you and your commitment. You're doing awesome. And you're looking strong and healthy, and you're looking good. So keep up the good work. All right.